For several months, the MDUMC Youth Ministry staff has been at work planning a student health event called Faithful Sexuality. Scheduled for February 25th and 26th, the goal of Faithful Sexuality is to provide a safe space for 7th to 12th grade students and their parents to learn and discuss a God-honoring, shame-free approach to important issues of sexual health. If you're familiar with Wonderfully Made, Faithful Sexuality will feel relatively similar, while integrating its own age and stage appropriate biological, psychological, and theological framework. Now, we know you have some questions. In fact, we're glad you have some questions. In this video, we're going to do the very best we can to address as many of them as possible.
Perhaps you're wondering, why now? And why sex of all topics? Well, it's been a few years since our youth ministry sponsored an event like this, and the dynamics of student culture are changing faster than ever. Quite frankly, it's time. Let's be honest. Talking about this stuff at church can be complicated and awkward. And because of that, churches at large have not always done an exemplary job of engaging issues of sex and sexual health, particularly when it comes to teenagers. Can we promise you that participating in Faithful Sexuality will guarantee you'll never have another awkward conversation with your students about sex? Unfortunately, no, we can't. But we can promise that Faithful Sexuality will help provide common language and effective on-ramps to meaningful conversations about student health and sexuality. And we believe that it is as important as ever to dive into this because as people of faith, it matters.
So, what topics are we going to explore during the event? Well, we felt that it was essential for us to discover what you, our families, believe is most important, and then do our very best to honor that. So rather than make those decisions on our own, we asked. We surveyed dozens of parents and students, and after sorting through the responses, we learned that things like sexual abuse and legal consent, sexting, social media, body image, and how to honor and maintain healthy relationships were among the things that both our parents and students felt were most important to cover. As far as LGBTQ issues are concerned, we will not be diving into those particular issues at this event. However, it is very important that you understand why we made this decision. We want to make this abundantly clear. Our decision not to include LGBTQ issues is not out of avoidance, or naivety, or unwillingness to engage the subject. We recognize that tension exists, and perspectives differ, and we feel that including such matters would disproportionately influence or even monopolize the rest of the event. Moreover, we believe that it is such an important issue that we will devote appropriate time and space to it in the future. So who's leading the sessions? Well, first and foremost, we clearly and purposefully acknowledge that our youth ministry staff are not licensed medical professionals, clinical psychologists, or otherwise professionally accredited experts. We spent several months looking for the right person to help guide this process, and thankfully, we found Reverend Heather Goddess Moore. So a team of Heather, other invited industry experts, and MDUMC staff will help lead some various sessions. Here are a few words from Reverend Goddess herself.
Hi there. I am Reverend Heather Goddess Moore, and I'm looking forward to our sexuality education event at the end of February. Just wanted to take a minute to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about why I'm coming to your church to talk about sexuality. I've been studying teenage sexuality and human sexuality in the church for about 15 years. My undergraduate degree is in sociology, focusing on teenage sexuality. I have a Master's of Divinity and a Master's of Theology from Perkins School of Theology. And I am currently working on a Doctorate of Liberal Studies, focusing on human sexuality in the church. My dissertation will be on a Wesleyan theology of human sexuality and sexual stewardship. I've been in youth and young adult ministry for 25 years in the United Methodist Church. I'm a trained Wonderfully Made facilitator, and I have experience leading that in churches of all sizes, denominations, and across the political spectrum. I've taught youth parents, young adults, youth workers, and church leaders about various topics in human sexuality. I've consulted with churches that have had to deal with sexual traumas within their congregation. I have walked alongside families who've experienced a variety of difficulties, and I'm a mom. I'm a mom of two amazing 16-year-old teenagers who at 16 are navigating this very muddy water themselves. All of this is to say that I'm a very passionate person who feels called to helping change the narrative around sexuality in our church. I'm a deacon in the United Methodist Church, and I want to help move us away from the shame and darkness of purity culture and into a narrative of light and love. A narrative that helps us understand our sexuality more broadly, and it's not something to be ashamed of. It's something God created in us and for us, and it's a wonderful part of who we are as created beings of God. So I hope that you and your teen will join us for this educational weekend, and I pray that it will be a time of hope and healing and empowerment for both you and your teen, so that you can continue to grow in the grace of God. I'll see you soon.
What's the schedule? Faithful Sexuality begins on Saturday evening, February 25th, with sessions on Sunday morning, followed by lunch, and the event concludes Sunday afternoon, the 26th. Our expectation is that students and parents attend the event together and in its entirety. But we understand that weekends are busy and juggling family schedules can be tough. If you can't participate in a particular session, that's okay. Do the best you can. In terms of participation, some is always better than none.
For some sessions, parents and students will be together. For others, parents and students will attend separate sessions with students divided into age and stage appropriate groups. Of course, the decisions of when and how to participate are in the hands of each participating family. We're hard at work finalizing a fully detailed schedule, and it will be made available soon and well in advance of the event. When and how do we register? Well, registration opens soon. We'll send out an email that includes a registration link and some more information about the event. Finally, on Wednesday, February 1st at 6 p.m., you're invited to join us on Zoom for a brief gathering to address any other questions you may have. The Zoom link is included in this email, or simply visit mdumc.org/youth and follow the instructions there. As always, we're grateful for the privilege of being a small part of your family's village. We deeply value our role in the community and in the lives of families, and we do not take that responsibility lightly. Thank you for your trust. Take care.